Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 9/4/24. A lot of threes, a lot of fours. Anyway, a couple things I want to just cover with you today. I want to talk about the double slit experiment real quick. The plausible possibility of beyond flat Earth, the digital world. Okay, I want you to think about this for a second. Light usually travels in waves. Okay. Thomas Young, 1801, did this experiment, and he noticed. Now, remember 1801. Remember what we were doing in 1801? Well, you weren't alive, and nor was I. 1801, I just think they were living in cabins with a candle and a fire and eating some homemade bread. And by the way, I just made a loaf of it. That's another video. He conducted an experiment, and he was able to prove that once light is recorded, well, usually light travels in waves, okay? But once it's recorded, and for some reason it's sensing that it's being recorded, it acts normal and breaks into particles, okay? You see, this is kind of things that are rendering themselves in video games. When I mean rendering themselves, if you're not looking at it, it's not there, okay? You look at a mountain, there's nothing behind that mountain because you're not going to go behind that mountain. When you look at that cloud, there's nothing behind that cloud because you're not going to go behind that cloud. Just like many other things, you see that car, well, you're not going to go behind that car, are you? So there's no grass, there's no property, there's nothing over there, okay? But if you do go over there, it'll render itself, and it'll appear out of nowhere. This saves memory in a computer programmer's data bank. Well, making games, developing games, shall I say. I want to talk about something else that was built. Now, we have pictures of the Flatiron District down in the city, more specifically the Flatiron Building. Okay. See, I have reason to believe that there's probably about 27, maybe 30 other floors beneath the Flatiron Building. One of these days, I'm going to get down there and I'm going to show it to you, or at least a couple of them. But I believe there's a whole different city down there. There are people in the city that are called mole people. They live and dwell underneath the city in these tunnels, which were there well before our civilization started, I'm sure. Okay, we just built over them. We hid them. Just like the fires in the 1800s in every state in the U.S. Well, they discovered all of these things when they were developing buildings down in these major cities, and they noticed that there's already architectural engineering, buildings that were already in place there. Some of them they had to destroy. Some of them they kind of kept there as whatever. Turned them into museums, shall we say. They love doing that. They turn places into parks, and then they turn them into museums. Okay, and then they call them national parks, national museum, or whatever. But if you look at some of the architectural engineering, some of these buildings, it's absolutely incredible. Anyway, well, back to what I was talking about the mole people. They've discovered everything that's in the city. Well, not everything, because they just kind of live on 2 or 3 levels. I'm talking way below that. I'm talking 27 stories down, maybe 30 stories down, possibly even more. When I went down to Grand Central Station, I told you, underneath Grand Central Station is a whole different world. As a matter of fact, one of the presidents had a totally separate train that took him from upstate New York all the way down to Grand Central Station in the city. It was private. It's still there. Cordoned off, locked off, of course. What's underneath that? I'd like to know. See, these are old areas, but let's get back to the fires. Okay, so ours is in 1834. It was one of those big, huge city fires that happened. A lot of things destroyed. Sure, a lot of people died. See, when people die in these rituals that they have, they're sacrifices. They've been sacrificed. Okay, just like 9/11, sacrifice. Just like some of the astronauts who said, we're not going to go along with your charade. Sacrificed. Okay. That would be the mopeds. They started around 8 o'clock in the morning, these guys. And then they go up and down, up and down. Probably your street, too, delivering food or probably pot. Who knows? It's legal here in New York. Why not? Go get a freaking joint. Everything's legal now in New York. That's what they want you to do. They want to keep the population dumb. They want to keep them thinking that we live on this spinning wet ball in space, traveling at this enormous amount of speed, that we're not, we're insignificant, there is no God, there's nothing. You were an accident. That's what they want you to continue to believe, and it's not true. It's bullshit. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I want to talk about space now. Sectors of space. Stars, in particular. Well, you know what I think about the stars. It's an amazing light show up there. That's all it is. Can't land on it. Can't do anything with it. You can look at it, just like in the Hayden Planetarium in the city. I don't know if you've ever been to a planetarium. Go ahead, go into one. Take a pair of binoculars. Zoom in on Saturn. It looks real, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. But you can't land on it. Can't do anything on it. So when we look at the stars, see, Globies would say, yeah, this makes sense because we live on this curve. See, we can't find a curve, okay? not according to the scientists when they give us the equation at all. We can see way beyond that curve. But anyway, let's just get back to the Globies over here. So yeah, because we're on a curve and we can see all of space. Okay, you see now on a flat land that we live on, okay, my problem is those stars that we're looking at supposedly are over California or beyond California, you know, maybe at the ice wall, whatever it may be. But each, it's weird, it's hard to explain, just like the sun and the moon, you know. I think we have our own sky, just like we have our own sun, just like we have our own moon. And I think we have our own amazing light show, individual to you and everybody else in this sector of the country that you live in. I don't know if I'm describing that properly. I'm going to get in more detail with that. I'll talk a little bit more about that. I don't want to discuss that until I review some more notes. You see, I'm home. You know, I get to go through everything now. I think I've seen enough movies on my phone. I don't watch regular Bluetooth TV or whatever the hell it is. Now this next part of the video is going to need some investors, okay? That's right. I'll need some investors for this. Maybe you might want to invest in this. See, Globies think that we live on a spinning wet ball. My idea, okay, I've come up with several ideas in the past too. The Bubble Boy, perhaps. All right? I think that was a great invention during our little 4-year lockdown. The Bubble Boy was terrific. This is a little bit different. This is something that's going to become worldwide, okay? Follow me on this. Now, when the plane comes down from the sky, it's usually where planes are coming from, the sky, and they're landing on a surface, okay, that's moving. It's very difficult to land that plane. Now, what this is going to do, picture this like being a rollerblade, okay? And there are wheels on the bottom of the rollerblade. That's what makes you project forward. Now, let's pretend that this is a ball, I'm going to call this invention, what was it, the Dyson ball? The CC ball, okay? So what this ball will do is it'll turn the rollerblade or the wheels from the plane in accordance to the spin of Earth. Okay, so basically the pilot doesn't have to think anymore, all right? That's right. He doesn't have to think anymore. This is called the Dyson, CC Dyson, CC ball, okay? So when it touches the Earth, it'll go like this, right down the runway, and the wheels will go to the spin of Earth, depending on where they're coming from, east, west, northeast, northwest, whatever it may be. This will just turn properly with them, okay? Now this will hold true with skateboards. Well, people aren't using skateboards anymore. Rollerblades, okay? This will be a worldwide selling apparatus for everyone to enjoy, okay? And it'll turn with Earth when you're landing on that surface that's spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. Okay, now this is a great invention. If you want to invest in this invention, then I suggest you be dialing now. I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos. Let me be a part of your life.